Hi everyone, I'm Bia, and welcome back to Cardiac Radio for Teens. For those of you who don't know, Cardiac Radio for Teens is a place where teens can come together with other teens to learn about Spiritist teachings and topics in a way that makes sense to us and is more relatable to us as teenagers in today's society. For the past few weeks, in the Gospel according to Spiritism, we've been reading through the section, Blessed are the Afflicted, meaning that when we struggle, when we're afflicted, when we have problems, we're actually the ones that are blessed, because it's a blessing to have these problems and these struggles so that we can work hard to get through them. And once we work hard to get through them, once we pass them, then we'll never have to, if we truly pass them, we'll never have to go through that situation again, because now we have learned from that situation, we've evolved from that situation, and we won't have to go through the same thing. So it's actually a blessing that we have these problems, because that means that once we get through them, we're not going to have to face them again. Whereas someone who doesn't have that problem, eventually they're going to have to go through it as well. So it's a good thing that we're struggling now so that in the future we don't have to struggle. So that's the general idea of this whole chapter. But now we left off at the beginning of a section called Evil and Its Remedy. So that's where we'll get started today. Is the earth a place of enjoyment and a paradise of delight? Does the voice of the prophet no longer re-echo in your ears? Did he not proclaim there would be weeping and gnashing of teeth for those who were born into this valley of pain? So then, all who live here must expect bitter tears and suffering. And no matter how accurate or how deep the pain, lift up your eyes to heaven and offer thanks to the Lord for wishing to test you. O mankind, can you not recognize the power of our Lord, except when he cures the sores of your bodies and crowns your days with beauty and fortune? Can you not recognize his love, except he adorns you with all the glories and restores the brilliance and whiteness? You should imitate the one who was given as the example. Having reached the final degree of abjunction and misery, while laying upon a dung heap, he said to God, Lord, I have known all the delights of opulence, and you have reduced me to the most absolute misery. Thank you, my Lord, for wishing to test your servant. How long will your eyes remain fixed upon the horizon limited by death? When will your soul finally decide to launch itself beyond the limits of the tomb? But even if you suffer and cry the whole of this life, what is that compared to the eternal glory reserved for those who suffer their trials with faith, love, and resignation? Seek consolation for your ills in the future, which God will prepare for you, and search for the causes in the past. And you, who have suffered the most, consider yourself the blessed of this earth. So here they're saying how oftentimes we want God to be, we want the example of God to be like, oh, when it's the most beautiful, perfect day outside, we're saying, wow, like, God, let this all happen. Or when all these great things happen to us, we're like, wow, thank you, God. And we're thanking God for these great things. But this pain that we're going through, the tears that we have to cry, that's also beautiful for our advancement, for our learning. And we know that the earth is not a place of perfection, right? We know that it's not perfect. We know we're going to go through hardships and struggles. But that's how, if we suffer through these things now and we face them with faith and love, then we won't have to suffer for eternity, right? And this is just a small section. Like they said, even if we suffer and cry this whole entire life, if we can face it with love and faith, we will get through them. We will pass that, and then we will be one step closer to not having to struggle for the rest of eternity. So yeah, it's not that we're not going to face things. It's not that we're not going to have hardships. But actually, the people who are suffering, the people who have the hardships, they're blessed, because those people are facing it with love and faith. They're going to be able to have a happier time in the spiritual world quicker than someone who is suffering and decides to feed off that suffering and do horrible things. No, we have to face that suffering with love and with faith. And when that happens, we will be advancing ourselves and putting ourselves in a better position. So no, the earth is not perfect, but that's the whole point. It's not supposed to be perfect so that we can struggle, so that we can learn. And when we do that, that's when we're truly blessed. As discarnates, when floating in space, you choose your own trials, judging yourself sufficiently strong to support them. Why then do you complain now? You asked for riches and glory because you wish to hold fight with temptation and overcome it. You asked to fight with body and soul against both moral and physical evil, knowing that the harder the trial, the greater and more glorious the victory. That despite the fact of your body ending up on a dung heap at death, as long as you have triumphed, it will release a soul of radiant whiteness, purified by the baptism of atonement and suffering. So when we're in the spirit world, we're the ones who pick our suffering. We say, I want to have riches and glory because I want to learn to resist that temptations, or I want to go through this so I can learn this. And we're the ones that are choosing these struggles for ourselves. And then when we come on earth and we're facing these struggles, we complain and complain and complain, and why would this happen to me? We picked it for ourselves. So if we picked it for ourselves, we wanted ourselves to overcome something. We wanted to learn something, to achieve something. So when we're going through a struggle, we just have to face it, and with the best face we can, and do the best that we can in those situations so that we can improve. And that's what we had planned for ourselves anyway, to improve upon these situations, not to just keep suffering forever. What remedy can be prescribed for those attacked by a cruel obsession and mortifying evils? There is but one infallible way, through faith, which is the appeal to heaven. If at the moment of highest poignancy in your suffering, you intone hymns to the Lord, then the angel at your bedside will show you the sign of salvation and the place which you will one day occupy. Faith is the only sure remedy for suffering. It will always show the infinite horizon before which the few cloudy days of the present will vanish. Therefore, do not ask what is the remedy for ulcer or sore or temptation or trial. Remind yourself that those who believe in are strengthened through the remedy of faith, and those who doubt of its efficiency, be it even for an instant, will be immediately punished, because they will quickly feel the pungent anguish of affliction. So here they're saying how faith is the best remedy for these bad things that are happening, because we don't want these bad things to just vanish. As much as we think we want these bad things that we're suffering through to vanish, us suffering is how we're learning, how we're evolving. If they vanish, then we didn't learn, and we're going to just have to suffer all over again and go through it all over again. So we don't want it to just vanish. We want to learn from it and to grow from it. And so the best remedy for this suffering is to have faith, is to see the future, right? To see the goal of this eternal happiness, and say, okay, yeah, I want to be there, I want to do that, and have faith that, yeah, even if we suffer, like they said, even if we cry this whole entire life, even if we suffer this whole entire life, this is such a small little portion of our spiritual life that is eternal. So that's the best thing we can do, is to have faith in that yeah, we're going through a couple hard days, but we'll get through it. And when we get through it, we'll come out stronger and better. The Lord has put his seal upon all those who believe in him. Christ told you that it was possible to move mountains by faith alone. And I tell you that he who suffers yet has faith to uphold him will remain upon the protection of the Lord and will suffer no more. The moments of greatest pain will become the first happy notes of eternity. The soul will detach itself from the body in such a manner while the latter is still writhing in convulsions. It will be gliding into the celestial region, singing hymns of gratitude and glory to the Lord, together with the angels. Fortunate are those who suffer and weep. Happy are these souls, because God will heap blessings upon them. St. Augustine, Paris, 1863. So here again, now St. Augustine is telling us how that these things that we're going through are blessings for us to overcome. And once we overcome them, and when we have this faith that we'll be okay, we'll feel that and we'll get to that state of happiness, like they said, with God and with the angels. And that's our end goal, is this eternal happiness, and we will get there, but we just need to have faith and face these struggles and try and combat them. We can't just give up on our struggles, because then we're going to have to keep struggling through them. We need to face them and have faith that after we face them, there is more that's waiting for us out there. And then the next section is titled, Happiness is Not of This World. Mankind in general, from all walks of society, is constantly complaining either that he is not happy or happiness was not made for him. This, dear brothers and sisters, proves better than any possible form of reasoning the truth of the maxim from the book of Ecclesiastes. Happiness is not of this world. Indeed, not riches, power, or even the blossom of youth are essential conditions for happiness. Furthermore, not even by uniting these three elements, so desired by many, can happiness be assured, because we constantly hearing of people of all ages, even those from the most privileged classes, bitterly complaining of the situations in which they find themselves. So we already know that even people who are rich and have the best things and have all the power, even they do not feel this complete happiness. Even they do not have just total happiness. They don't face struggles. No, even people that are rich and powerful and even young, even they seem to suffer sometimes even more than those who are not rich or powerful or young. So even by having these three qualities, we're not going to be happy. Those aren't essential conditions to be happy. And that's what we're getting into, that happiness is not of this world. And that's why those material things don't satisfy us. Being young in this physical body doesn't satisfy us, or being rich in this physical world, in this material world, having power in this material world. None of that matters, because what truly matters is the spiritual world. Because like they said, happiness is not of this world. Before this fact, it is incontestable that the militant and working class envy, with great anxiety, the positions of those who are apparently favored by fortune. In this world, despite what anyone can do, each must face his own part of work and misery, his quota of suffering and deception, from which it is easy to reach the conclusion that the earth is a place of trials and atonements. So, even as the working class, right, they envy the people who are powerful and rich, everyone on this world has things they go through, has struggles that they have to overcome, has hardships that they have to overcome. So, the earth is a planet of trial and atonements, right? It's a planet where everyone is going through these tests to try and become better, to try and atonements, and to make up for their mistakes that they've made in the past. So we're all in that same boat, no matter what it may seem from the physical, material appearance of this world. So then, those who preach that the earth is man's only home, and that it is here during only one existence that he must reach the highest level of happiness possible to his nature, are merely deluding themselves to those who listen to them. It has been demonstrated through multi-secular experiences that only in exceptional cases can this globe offer the necessary conditions for complete happiness for any one individual. In general terms, it is possible to affirm that happiness is a utopia, whose conquest has been strived after by successive generations without their even having been able to reach their objective. If the sensible man or woman is a rarity in the world, then the absolute happy person has never been found. So, someone that's been absolutely happy has never been found on this earth. Because even those who come to help Earth on missions, they also are not completely happy because they see the suffering of others, or while they're helping others, they might still make mistakes. So nowhere on this earth has there been the absolute happy person, because this earth is not meant for people that are evolved enough that they understand God and they have faith in God to keep them happy. No, earth is a very material place of trials and atonements, right? Of lots of tests, lots of struggles, lots of mistakes that we make. So, like they're saying here, no absolute happy person has ever been found on earth. Happiness on earth consists of something so fleeting for those who are not guided by wisdom, that but for a year, a month, or a week of complete satisfaction, the rest of their existence is a serious, bitter deception. And note, dear children, that I refer to those who are considered the lucky ones of the earth, those who are envy of the masses. So here they're saying how even the ones that have this happiness, even like the most powerful, the ones that we look up to, they always say, wow, look at their house and their money and their life. That must be amazing to be like that. Even those people that we look up to and envy, those people are happy for maybe a month, maybe a week of their life. And the rest, it's just bitter deception, right? It's just, okay, it looks like I'm having a great time, but I'm not. Or even like we see nowadays on social media, everyone only posts the good things about their life. So it seems you're in this deception that it seems like, oh, that person has this total happiness. They're living the life. But no, in reality, everyone is facing their struggles, no matter what their social media may look like or what their physical things they have may look like. They are happy for maybe a week, and the rest is just a deception that they're happy. And that's what's happening to all of us. So we shouldn't be sad that when someone else is happy. We should be happy for them being happy and have our faith and push through our struggles so that we can get to that happiness too. Consequently, if the earth-dwelling place is specifically for trials and atonements, they are forced to admit that somewhere there are more favorable dwelling places where the spirit, although still a prisoner in a material body, may possess the delights of human life in all its fullness. This is the reason why God has planted those beautiful superior planets in your vortex, towards which your efforts and tendencies will one day cause you to graduate, and you will become sufficiently purified and perfected. However, do not deduce from my words that the earth is perpetually destined to remain penetrary. No, certainly not. From the progress that has already been achieved, we may readily infer further progress, and from the various social betterments obtained, new and more fertile improvements. This is the immense task allotted to this new doctrine which the spirits have revealed. So then, dear child, Dear children, may you be animated by a saintly emulation, so that you may energetically change your ways. Everyone should dedicate themselves to the propagation of Spiritism, which has already begun your own regeneration. It is your duty to help your brothers and sisters to participate in the rays of this scarce light. Accordingly set to work, dear children. Let us hope that within this solemn reunion, all hearts may aspire to this great objective, which is to prepare a world for future generations, where the word happiness is no longer meaningless. Francis Nicolas Mendeley, Cardinal Morlot, in Paris, 1863. So here, again, we see that happiness is not of this world, right? Our true happiness is not going to come now. Yes, we might have happy moments, but happiness as a whole is not on this world. So we know that it's at more advanced worlds, when we're more advanced, when we're purified and perfected. So we need to face these trials that we're going through and these atonements and everything, all these struggles and hardships that we're going through, face them with the best face we can, face them with courage, face them with faith, with love, and we will begin improving ourselves. And as we improve ourselves, we can move up to these evolved worlds that are in our galaxy, in our universe, these more evolved worlds that we are striving for. And we will get to that state of perfection. And when we are at that state of perfection, when we are feeling that true happiness, we're going to see that happiness is not this meaningless thing that we thought on earth, right? Happiness isn't this thing that what we think it is. Happiness isn't this physical or material things that we have. We will eventually get to that state of perfection where we understand true happiness and we see that it's not meaningless. So to do that, we need to try our best, and we need to go through these struggles that we're facing, which isn't easy to go through these struggles. We're going to cry, we're going to fall down, but we just need to get back up and have faith of what's coming for us. So that's where we'll end off today. And the next section that we'll be starting off with next week is losing loved ones, premature deaths. So that's the topic we'll be talking about, still under the section of Blessed are the Afflicted. And before we leave off today, I'd like to read our message from the Daily Book of Positive Quotations for today's date, August 13th. This one's titled Criticism. Don't find fault, find a remedy. We spend a lot of time knocking others for what they have done wrong, without offering much in the way of useful ideas ourselves. Problems need solutions. We may not have the answer, but we can at least offer ideas and support to those trying to work through problems. Before criticizing, I need to find a way to help solve a problem. If at all you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to talk about at all, feel free to email me at kardicradio4teens@gmail.com and I'll get back to you right away. I'm Bia, and this has been Kardic Radio for Teens. Thank you all for listening.
This has been Kardic Radio for Teens. Thank you all for listening.